So my name is Rhea Marie S. Putong and I will be the one to report about the diagram of the femur. So first is the head of the femur. It is located at the highest part of the thigh bone and it is supported by the femoral neck. So the femoral head serves as the ball in the hip joint, allowing for a high degree of motion in the hip. Next is the neck of femur. It is located at the upper portion of our femur, just below the ball part or the femoral head. So it also allows for an increased range movement at the hip joint. Next is the lesser trochanter, which is smaller than the greater trochanter. It is a pyramidal prominence that projects from the proximal or near and medial or inside part of the shaft of the femur. Lesser trochanter receives the insertion of several muscles. So next is the medial condyle. It is the medial or inner portion of the upper extremity of tibia. It is the site of insertion for the semimembranosus muscle. Next is greater trochanter. It is located on the proximal and lateral side of the femur, just distal to the hip joint and neck of the femur. It is the attachment to a number of muscles. Next is the intertrochanteric crest, where it is located at the posterior aspect of the junction between the femoral neck and shaft. It is the posterior point of attachment for the joint capsule of the hip. Next is gluteal tuberosity. Is the lateral ridge above the linea aspera on the posterior surface of the femur. It extends the hip, laterally rotates the femur at the hip joint. Next is the lateral condyle. It is the lateral portion of the upper extremity of the tibia. It serves as an insertion for the biceps femoris muscle or small hip. Lastly is the intercondylar fossa. So it is located at the bottom of the femur between its condyles. So the function of it is to help stabilize the knee joint. And next is the matching of bone names. First is the ilium. So the body of the ilium forms the superior part of the acetabulum or the acetabular roof. Immediately above the acetabulum, the ilium expands to form the wing or ala. As such, the ilium serves a weight-bearing function and is part of the structure that ensures the spine is supported when the body is upright. Next is the acetabulum. So acetabulum is the cup-shaped socket on the lateral aspect of the pelvis, which articulates with the head of the femur to form the hip joint. The acetabulum is a cup-like socket formed by the connection of the three bones that make up our hip. This socket meets with the femoral head of the femur bone to form the hip joint. So together, these two parts of anatomy allows us to walk, run, and move freely. Next is the pubic symphysis. It's a secondary cartilaginous joint between the left and right superior rami of the pubis of the hip bones. The main motions of the symphysis pubis are superior or inferior glide and separation or compression. The functions of the joint are to absorb shock during walking and allow delivery of a baby. Next is the pubis, also known as the pubic bone. It is located in front of the pelvic girdle, so the mons pubis is an area of fatty tissue that covers the pubic bone in both males and females. Though it tends to be more prominent in females, it plays an important role in secreting pheromones responsible for sexual attraction. So next is the ischium. So one of the three bones that form the pelvis. So the upper portion of this bone forms a major part of the concave portion of the pelvis that forms the hip. As a as a as part of this hip joint, this bone plays a very important role in leg mobility, balance, standing up, and lifting tasks, and among others. Next is the lesser trochanter. It projects from the lower and back part of the base of the neck, so it receives the insertion of several muscles. Next is the patella. It is the largest sesamoid bone in the human body and is located anterior to knee joint within the tendon of the quadriceps femoris muscle. The patella plays the following role at the knee joint. Functions primarily as an anatomic pulley for the quadriceps muscle. It increases the lever arm of the extensor mechanism, allowing for more effective knee flexion and thus increase quadriceps strength by 33 to 50%. Next is the medial condyle. It is the medial or inner portion of the upper extremity of tibia. It is the site of insertion for the semimembranosus muscle. Next is the tuberosity of the tibia or the tibia tuberosity or the tibial tubercle. It is an elevation on the proximal anterior aspect of the tibia, just below where the anterior surfaces of the lateral and medial tibial condyles end. So it acts as a lever to extend the knee joint and prevents the knee from collapsing when the foot strikes the ground. Next is the tibia and fibula. So these are the two long bones located in the lower leg. The tibia is the larger bone on the inside and the fibula is a smaller bone on the outside. The tibia is much thicker than the fibula, so it is the main weight-bearing bone of the two, while the fibula is combined with the tibia and provides the stability to the ankle joint. Next is the medial malleolus. It is felt on the inside of your ankle and is part of the tibia's base, so it forms the support for the inner side of the ankle joint. Next is the lateral malleolus. It is felt on the outside of your ankle and is part of the tib. It is felt on the outside of your ankle is the low end of the fibula. So it is responsible for resistance against inversion and internal rotation stress. Next is the calcaneus. It is a roughly rectangular prism-shaped bone located interior to the talus and posterior to the midfoot. The calcaneus is the bone that forms the heel of the foot. So next is the tarsals. They are located proximally in the foot in the ankle area, and the tarsal bones are 7 in number. They are named calcaneus, talus, cuboid, navicular, and the medial, and lateral cuneiforms. It is a shape well adapted for carrying and transferring weight in the bipedal locomotion. Next is the metatarsal. So metatarsal bones are the bones of the forefoot that connect the distal aspects of the cuneiform bones and cuboid bone to the base of the 5 phalanges of the foot. It helps form longitudinal arcs along the inner and outer sides of the foot and a transverse arc at the ball of the foot. Next is the phalanges. Phalanges are comprised of the proximal, middle, and distal groups. The proximal bones are located just below the knuckle, while the middle bones are located above the knuckle. So, I mean, the proximal bones are located just below the knuckle, while the middle bones are located above the knuckle. So the bones of the foot provide mechanical support for the soft tissues, helping the foot withstand the weight of the body while standing and in motion. Next is the sacroiliac joints. So it's linked in your pelvis and lower spine. This joint transfers weight and forces between your upper body and legs. It is an essential component for energy transfer between the legs and the torso. Next is the neck of the femur. So it is located at the upper portion of our femur, just below the ball part or the femoral head. It allows for an increased range of movement at the hip joint. Next is the greater trochanter. It is located on the proximal and lateral side of the femur, just distal to the hip joint and neck of the femur. It is the attachment to number of muscles. Next is the femur, also called thigh bone, upper bone of the leg or hind leg. The femur is the longest, heaviest, and strongest bone in the human body. So the main function of the femur is weight bearing and stability of gait. And lastly is the talus. It is a small bone that sits between the heel bone or the calcaneus and the two bones of the lower leg, the tibia and fibula. The talus is the main connector between the foot and leg, helping to transfer weight and pressure forces across the ankle joint. So next is another matching of bone names. Number 1, fused to form the coxal bone. Our answer is ilium, ischium, and pubis. Number 2, also called sit-down bone of the coxal bone. Our answer is ischium. Number 3, points where the coxal bones join anteriorly. Our answer is pubic symphysis. Number 4, superior-most margin of the coxal bone. Our answer is iliac crest. Number 5, deep socket in the coxal bone that receives the head of the thigh bone. Our answer is acetabulum. Number 6, joint between axial skeleton and pelvic girdle. Our answer is sacroiliac joint. Number 7, longest, strongest bone of the body. Our answer is femur. Number 8, thin lateral leg bone. Our answer is fibula. Number 9, heavy medial leg bone. Our answer is tibia. Number 10, bones forming knee joint. Our answer is fibula and patella. Number 11, point where the patellar ligament attaches. Our answer is femur and tibia. Number 12, the kneecap. Our answer is patella. Number 13, the shin bone. Our answer is tibia. Number 14, medial ankle projection. Our answer is medial malleolus. Number 15, lateral ankle projection. Our answer is lateral malleolus. Number 16, the two largest tarsal bones. Our answer is calcaneus and talus. Number 17, the ankle bones. Our answer is tarsals. Number 18, bones forming the instep of the foot. Our answer is metatarsals. Number 19, opening in hip bone formed by the pubic and ischial rami. Our answer is obturator foramen. Number 20, sites of muscle attachment on the proximal femur. Our answer is gluteal tuberosity, greater and lesser trochanters. Number 21, tarsal bone that sits on the calcaneus. Our answer is talus. Number 22, weight-bearing bone of the leg. Our answer is femur or tibia. And lastly, number 23, tarsal bone that articulates with the tibia. Our answer is talus. And next is the types of joints. So number 1, typically allow a slight degree of movement. Our answer is cartilaginous. Number 2, include joints between the vertebral bodies and the pubic symphysis. Our answer is cartilaginous. Number 3, essentially immovable joints. Our answer is fibrous. Number 4, sutures are the most remembered examples. Our answer is fibrous. Number 5, cartilage connects the bony portions. Our answer is cartilaginous. Number 6, have a fibrous articular capsule lined with a synovial membrane surrounding a joint cavity. Our answer is synovial. Number 7, all are freely movable or diarthrotic. Our answer is synovial. Number 8, bone regions are united by fibrous connective tissue. Our answer is fibrous. Number 9, include the hip, knee, and elbow joints. Our answer is synovial. And next is the matching of joint subcategories. Number 1, joint between most skull bones. Our answer is suture. Number 2, joint between the axis and atlas? Our answer is pivot. Our number 3, hip joint. Our answer is ball and socket. Number 4, joint between forearm bones and wrist. Our answer is condylar. Number 5, elbow. Our answer is hinge. Number 6, interphalangeal joints. Our answer is hinge. Number 7, intercarpal joints. Our answer is plane. Number 8, joint between the skull and vertebral column. Our answer is condylar. Number 9, joints between proximal phalanges and metacarpal bones. Our answer is condylar. Number 10, multi-axial joint. Our answer is ball and socket. And that's the end of my part. Thank you.